Uh, so now we are back to the last stanza, not the last stanza of the book of book one, but rather the last stanza of the section that we have to study. And here, Satan and Beelzebub have moved on away from the fiery river. They have now moved to the fiery plain, and Satan speaks to Beelzebub thus. Also, this stanza is very important because there are a lot of very famous lines. Many of the famous lines of Paradise Lost can be found in this stanza, and they are very important to show Satan's character. And also, these are some of the lines which critics later have said are some of the best lines, not just of this book, but of the entire work, Paradise Lost, and some of the greatest lines in the history of English literature have been given to Satan. So let us pay some attention to those lines as well. Now, this is what Satan says to Beelzebub. Is this the region, this the soil, the clime, said then the lost archangel, this the seat that we must change for heaven, this mournful gloom for that celestial light. Is this what we have got in exchange for heaven? Change. That we must change for heaven means that we must exchange for heaven. Is this the region? Is this the kind of place that we have got? This the soil. We know there is no soil there, but only solid fire. The clime means climate. So the lost archangel, the fallen archangel, Satan, says thus, is this the region, the soil, the clime that we must exchange for heaven? This the seat that we must change for heaven. Is this the seat means, is this seat, doesn't just refer to a place where you sit, but seat refers to the dwelling place, or rather the place of power of a lord or a powerful person. So the seat of a monarch or the seat of a lord, എന്നാണ് പറയുക, അവരുടെ കാസിലിനെ, അവരുടെ the place where they occupy. So is this now going to be our seat of power? Earlier it was heaven, but now we have exchanged heaven, and is this what we have got in return? This mournful gloom for that celestial light. And we get to see here that hell is in every sense the very opposite or contrary of heaven. In heaven there was celestial light. It was always bright, and it was not just some ordinary light, it was celestial light, it was divine light. And here in hell we only have mournful gloom. Gloom here means darkness, but of course it also has that connotation of gloomy, mournful, sorrowful darkness is all that we have in hell, whereas in heaven we had celestial light. Be it so, since he who now is sovereign can dispose and bid what shall be right. Farthest from him is best, whom reason hath equalled, force hath made supreme above his equals. So if this is the place that we must exchange for heaven, be it so, let it be so. Not because we want it so, but because we have no other choice. Since he who now is sovereign, this is again an archaic spelling of sovereign. SOVEREIN, sovereign, which means all powerful. So God is now sovereign, God is now all powerful, and because he is all powerful, he can dispose and bid what shall be right. Nobody will question him. Might is right എന്നൊക്കെ പറയുന്ന പോലെ, because God is all powerful now, he can say anything and nobody will question it, and he can decide what is right and what is wrong. So God has decided to give us this place in exchange for heaven, and nobody can challenge him, nobody can question him, because he is the sovereign, the all powerful ruler. Farthest from him is best. Farthest here is again an archaic spelling of farthest. ഏറ്റവും ദൂരം എന്നുള്ള അർത്ഥത്തില്. Farthest from him is best. It is anyway better to be far away from God. He is a tyrant. He thinks he is all powerful. So even though we have got this horrible place called hell in exchange for the celestial light of heaven, it is still worthwhile because we are far away from him, and hell is the farthest place from God and heaven. So farthest from him is best, whom reason hath equaled, but force hath made supreme above his equals. And here again there is a certain political resonance here when Satan says reason has made God equal to us. If you look at it logically, Why should God be above us in his power? He should be just equal to us. So according to reason, he should be equal to us. But because he has force, because he has power, he has might, that has made him supreme above his equals. We are all actually his equals. But he has become the supreme power over us, not because of any reasonable factor, not because he's more talented than us or any other reason, but only because he's more powerful than us. Farthest from him is best, whom reason hath equaled, force hath made supreme above his equals. Now comes some of the, again, famous lines. Farewell, happy fields, where joy forever dwells. Hail horrors, hail infernal world, and thou, profoundest hell, receive thy new possessor. One who brings a mind not to be changed by place or time. The mind is its own place and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. These are extremely famous lines from this poem. So now Satan is saying, farewell, happy fields where joy forever dwells. He is describing heaven. And by happy fields, Milton is actually here drawing on classical Greek mythology where the world of Hades, the world where people go after death. Heroes and great people go to a place called the Fields of Elysium or the Elysian Fields. So that is what the classical Greek version of heaven is. If you die, if you were a very good person or a hero in your life and you die, you will go to the fields of Elysium, which are called the happy fields. So even though this is a biblical epic, a modern epic in some sense, Milton still draws on classical sources. So, farewell, happy fields where joy forever dwells. He's comparing heaven to the fields of Elysium where people are always happy. There is no sorrow there. So, he is bidding farewell to heaven and hail horrors, hail. Horrors, again, just the ancient spelling, archaic spelling of horror. Hail horrors, hail infernal world. This infernal world, this hell is full of horrors, and I am ready to hail and welcome, to acknowledge those horrors. Hail horrors, hail infernal world, and thou profoundest hell. Profoundest, deepest hell. We don't know how large hell is. As far as angels can, he had looked around and seen nothing but this horror that is hell. So I know that hell is profound, hell is deep. And he's addressing hell and saying, receive thy new possessor. Receive the person who possesses you. Receive your new owner. I, Satan, am going to be the new owner, the new possessor of hell. And what kind of a person is your new possessor? One who brings a mind not to be changed by place or time. I have a consistent mind. I have a constant mind. Time and place will not change my mind. My mind will not be changed by time or place. My mind will not be changed by my circumstances. I was very proud and I was very firm in my convictions when I was in heaven. Now I am no longer in heaven. I am in this horrible place called hell. But the change in place is not going to change my mindset. Neither is a change in time. Earlier, I was in a better time, a happier time. Now I am in a much more horrible time, and I know that I will have to spend eternity here, but that is not going to change my mind. I have a mind not to be changed by place or time. And then the next two lines are extremely important. The mind is its own place and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. The mind is a place in itself. You have, even if you don't have control over any of your external circumstances, even if you don't have control over anything else, you can control your mind because the mind is its own place. The mind is a place in itself and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. So everything depends on your mindset. Even if you are in hell, if your mind is not happy, even if you are in heaven, if your mind is not happy, then you will feel as if you are in hell. And even if you are in hell, if your mind is satisfied, if your mind is content, then you will feel as if you are in heaven. So the mind is its own place. It is not something that can be affected by external places. My mind is very firm, and even if I am in heaven, I might feel as if I am in hell. Even if I am in hell, I can feel as if I am in heaven. Which is to say also that suppose he had stayed in heaven, suppose he had not rebelled against God, he could have stayed in heaven, he could have remained in heaven, but his mind would not be in heaven. His mind would be in hell because he would feel horrible. He would feel that he is the slave of God. So he did what he thought was right. If he had stayed in heaven and continued to submit to a particular system which he thought was wrong, then even though physically he is in heaven, his mind would have been in hell. But now he is in hell. Physically, he is in a horrible place. But his mind is very clear about the fact that he still believes that what he did was right. And he is now saying that maybe my mind can create a heaven even inside this hell. And it sounds very heroic to say that, but at the same time, later when we if we are to read the later books like book 4 and all, where Satan actually escapes from here and goes to find Eden and find the human beings, we can see that he is extremely tormented. So wherever he goes, he's actually tormented. So it is not quite right to say that his mind doesn't change. It is something that he wants to convince himself, and also to convince his followers so that they will feel comforted. Okay, so farewell, happy fields where joy forever dwells. Hail horrors, hail infernal world, and thou, profoundest hell, receive thy new possessor, one who brings a mind not to be changed by place or time. The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. What matter where, if I be still the same, and what I should be, all but less than he whom thunder hath made greater. So he's continuing in the same vein. What matter where? What does it matter where I am? Whether I'm in heaven or in hell, what does it matter? If I be still the same, if I have not changed, if internally I am still the same person. And what I should be, what am I actually? All but less than he whom thunder hath made greater. I am not less than anybody else. The only person that I am subordinate to, that I am slightly less than, is God. And God is greater than me, not because of any other reason, but because he has the power of thunder, which has made him greater than me. നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞതിന്റെ ബാക്കിയാണ്. ദൈവം നമ്മുടെ ഈക്വൽ ആവേണ്ട ആളായിരുന്നു, പക്ഷെ പവർഫുൾ ആയതുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മളുടെ മുകളിലാണ്. ആ ദൈവമല്ലാതെ മറ്റാരും എൻ്റെ മുകളിലില്ല. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഞാൻ എവിടെ ആയാൽ എന്താണ്? Here at last we shall be free. The Almighty hath not built here for his envy, will not drive us hence. Here we may reign secure, and in my choice, to reign is worth ambition, though in hell. Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. Again, important lines. Here at least we shall be free. So in heaven we were not free, we were happy, but we were not free because we were always under the control of God, under the command of God. The Almighty hath not built here for his envy. God doesn't envy us our position in hell. God doesn't want to deprive us of hell. He doesn't want to invade into hell. He is not envious of hell. He doesn't want it. He doesn't have any ambitions for hell. Will not drive us hence. He will not drive us from here. Hence means from here. ഇവിടെ നിന്ന് നമ്മളെ ദൈവം ഓടിക്കാൻ പോകുന്നില്ല. Here we may reign secure. We can not just survive, we can reign. We can be the reigning monarchs of hell, just like God is the reigning monarch of heaven. And we will be secure here. We will be safe from God. And in my choice, to reign is worth ambition, though in hell. To reign over a dominion, to be the lords of that dominion is a worthy ambition, even though the place that I seek to reign over is hell. So in my choice, and this word choice is very important, the whole idea of free will. Because until they rebelled against God, angels had no free will. Angels just obeyed the will of God. But Satan, by rebelling against God, has exercised his choice. It is a particular power of choice that he has exercised. And he says, in my choice, according to my choice, it is okay. Even if we are in hell, it is okay, because here we are reigning. We are the rulers of this land. If we were in heaven, we would be just the servants of God. Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. So I want to be free. I don't want to be constrained by somebody else's commands. I don't want to be their slave or their servant or their subordinate. So if I can't do that in heaven, let me at least do that in hell. So wherever I am, it is good if I can reign, and to reign in hell is better than serving in heaven. But wherefore let we then, our faithful friends, the associates and co-partners of our laws, lie thus astonished on the oblivious pool? Suddenly he remembers that it's just he and Beelzebub who have now got up, who have awakened to full consciousness and moved away from that infernal river. So he says, but wherefore? Wherefore means why? Why do we let our faithful friends lie thus astonished on the oblivious pool? The oblivious pool. The pool again refers to the, we don't know whether it's a pool or a river or whatever, that fiery river in which they are lying. They are lying astonished, they are lying confused there, just like we did earlier. And they are lying oblivious, they are unconscious. They are not aware of what is happening around them. And they are the associates and co-partners of our loss. They have lost exactly the same things that we have lost. They worked side by side with us. They fought side by side with us. And now they have suffered the same losses that we have. So let us revive them. Why are we standing here while they are lying in the fiery river? And call them not. And call them not. So why don't we call them? And call them not to share with us their part in this unhappy mansion, or once more with rallied arms to try what may be yet regained in heaven, or what more lost in hell. So let us call them either to share with us their part in this unhappy mansion. This mansion here, it refers to hell. He's referring to hell as now their mansion, their dwelling place. So even if this is an unhappy mansion, this is our fate. This is what we have to share, and they also should share our fate. ഒന്നെങ്കിൽ അവരെ ഉണർത്തിയിട്ട് നമുക്ക് ഈ ഹെല്ലിൽ എങ്ങനെ മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാമെന്ന് തീരുമാനിക്കാം, or otherwise once more with rallied arms, let us rally our arms, let us take up our weapons again against God, to try what may be yet regained in heaven, or what more lost in hell. If we fight against God again, there are two options, there are two possible outcomes. One, we may yet regain something in heaven. ഹെവനിൽ നമുക്ക് നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടത് എന്തെങ്കിലും നമുക്ക് തിരിച്ചു പിടിക്കാൻ ചിലപ്പോൾ പറ്റുമായിരിക്കും. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എന്ത് സംഭവിക്കും? We may be in a much worse position than now. God, if we fight against God again, we may lose even more in hell. If we have lost everything and we are in hell, if we fight against God again, we may suffer even greater losses. Or the other option is we may regain what we lost in heaven. സോ ഈ രണ്ട് പോസിബിലിറ്റീസ് ഉണ്ട്. അതിലേത് വേണമെന്ന് നമുക്ക് ഇനി ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യാം. സോ രണ്ടിനാണെങ്കിലും ശരി, ഇനി ഒന്നും വേണ്ട, നമുക്ക് ഒരു പരിപാടിക്കും പോകണ്ട, ദൈവത്തിനെതിരെ യാതൊരു പ്രോഗ്രാമിനും പോകണ്ട, ഒരു ഫൈറ്റിനും പോകണ്ട, ഇവിടെ സമാധാനമായി ജീവിക്കാം എന്നാണെങ്കിൽ പോലും അവരെ നമുക്ക് വിളിച്ചുണർത്തണം. കാരണം നമ്മളുടെ ഒപ്പം ആ ഫേറ്റ് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യേണ്ടവരാണ് അവര്. ഇനി അതല്ല, ദൈവത്തിനെതിരെ ഫൈറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനാണെങ്കിൽ ഈ രണ്ട് പോസിബിലിറ്റീസ് ഉണ്ട്. Either we will regain what we lost, or we will lose even more. അത് രണ്ടാണെങ്കിലും they are also going to be equal partners in that fate. So we should take their opinions as well. So there is a certain sense, slightly more of a sense of democracy that Satan brings in by saying that it is not just you and I who should decide what we should do further. Let us wake up the other fallen angels and let us confer with them, let us discuss with them, because they will also share our fate. നമുക്ക് ഒറ്റയ്ക്ക് തീരുമാനിക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങളല്ല ഇത്. അവരും ഇതേ ഫേറ്റ് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യേണ്ടവരാണ്. അതുകൊണ്ട് അവരുടെ അഭിപ്രായങ്ങളും കൂടി നമ്മൾ കണക്കിലെടുക്കണം. So let us wake them up. That is where that particular section ends.